Pay less so you pay less.
Like your Ashton and Alex.
Both pieces only $7.99.
Your choice of style and color, plus all those throw pillows.
Untouchable value every day. Only at My Bob's Discount Furniture.
World-renowned experts, a national reputation for excellence. MedStar Washington Hospital Center, where the extraordinary happens every day. Learn more at medstarwashington.org.
Happy New Year from Good Morning Washington.
At Persona Doctors, we help people lose weight and change lives. We prescribe safe, powerful medications that curb your appetite, burn fat, boost your energy, with natural hormones that keep the weight off. Guaranteed.
Book now and get our best B12 shot free.
Good morning, America. Urgent manhunt. The search now for the terrorist who went on a New Year's rampage, killing at least 39, injuring dozens more at a Turkish nightclub. We have the surveillance video that captured the gunman, and ISIS now claiming responsibility. An American was injured in the gunfire. How his cell phone may have saved him.
Powerful winds destroyed dozens of homes and an elementary school down south. And now Texas to Georgia on high alert as tornadoes and flash flooding moves in. The new warnings this morning.
President-elect Trump claims to have special details about the election hacking.
I also know things that other people don't know, and so they cannot be sure of the situation.
He promises to reveal more this week as President Obama kicks dozens of Russian diplomats and their families out of the country. New concerns now about Russian hacking targeting an American power plant.
Oh, Mariah Carey.
We're missing some of this logo, but it is what it is.
Mariah Carey melting down in a major lip sync fail in front of millions.
I want a holiday too. Can I not have one?
The new details this morning about what really happened on that New Year's stage.
That was...
Live in Times Square, this is GMA with Robin Roberts, George Stephanopoulos, and Michael Strahan.
And good morning, America. Happy New Year. We are right back here live in Times Square, and what a different scene from New Year's Eve. More than 1 million people were here then. You see it's empty right now. There's the scene New Year's Eve when Mariah Carey's performance got so much attention.
And the ball dropped a little earlier than they were anticipating. It's that moment on the stage, one of the many perils of live TV. Well, the host, Ryan Seacrest, showed his support right after, saying no matter what Mariah does, the crowd absolutely loves it. They were, for the most part, very supportive.
Yeah, they certainly were. As we said, 1 million people out there. We're going to have more on that coming up. But we are going to begin with that manhunt in Turkey for the terrorists who killed at least 39 people celebrating New Year's at a nightclub in Istanbul. Overnight, ISIS claimed responsibility for the attack. Officials now warning Americans in Turkey to be on high alert. ABC's Alex Marquardt is on the scene in Istanbul. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning, George. That's right. Overnight, ISIS put out a statement claiming that the shooter is one of their soldiers, as they call them. He is still at large. ISIS claimed that this attack was in response to Turkish actions against them in Syria, but also because this club is, quote, where Christians celebrate their apostate holiday, meaning New Year's. An urgent manhunt this morning for this man, caught by surveillance cameras as he fired his way into Istanbul's Reyna nightclub, which is popular with tourists and Turkey's elite. Just 75 minutes earlier, the scene was like so many New Year's parties around the world. Around 600 revelers counting down, waving sparklers. Cheers as the new year is rung in at midnight. But at 1:15 a.m., bullets ricocheted off the street as the shooter, dressed in dark clothes, fired an automatic weapon and rushed the door. This graphic CCTV video showing the man shooting at people in the entrance to the club before storming inside. There, the rampage lasted 7 horrific minutes. The suspect, authorities believe, then changed clothes to blend in and slip away. This morning, at least 39 people have been confirmed killed, including more than 24 foreigners. Dozens more were wounded, including 35-year-old American Jake Rock in Istanbul on vacation, who was carried away on a stretcher after being shot in the leg.
I don't know. I saw one person. They're shooting. I'm hiding.
His brother saying the bullet may have hit Rock's cell phone and prevented a more serious injury. During those terrifying minutes, several WNBA players were celebrating the new year next door. Essence Carson of the Los Angeles Sparks tweeting, stuck inside of the club because of terror shooting in Istanbul. Later, Carson deleted the tweet and confirmed that she and 2 other teammates were safe. This shooting is just the latest in a string of deadly incidents to hit this country in the past few months. This new year starting off with what many are calling a massacre. More of those killed in this attack are being laid to rest in funerals today. Most of them are Muslims. Robin?
So sad, Alex. Thank you. Now to that bad weather moving in this new year. Dozens of homes damaged in Florida by high winds, and now there are new warnings about tornadoes and flash flooding across the southeast. You know, Ginger is here, and she's tracking that storm's path for us.
And Robin, that was just the first storm, so a volatile start to the new year in parts of Florida. You can see that tree ripped up there. Look at this video near Pensacola, Florida, where all those trees into homes, onto cars, and now we have another round of severe storms moving through. Right now, it's in Texas. Between Dallas and Austin, we've actually already seen an 82-mile-per-hour wind gust. DFW already this morning had a ground stop thanks to the rain and high winds. And check this out, a large area, parts of Florida, again in the panhandle there, and then parts of Alabama, back into Mississippi, Louisiana, all in the enhanced risk. So you could see more damaging wind, even tornadoes, and yes, some hail too as we go into the afternoon hours as well. Real quick look though, flash flooding is the other threat. So George, flash flood potential anywhere kind of in that same region, and look in central Georgia. Atlanta to the north is what we're watching. So much more coming up in just a couple of minutes.
They are going to get hit hard. Ginger, thanks very much. We're going to move on now to the latest on the Trump transition. Less than 3 weeks from Inauguration Day, President-elect is promising to release new information on the election hacking that U.S. intelligence pins on Russia. Trump continues to question the findings, saying he knows things others don't. And ABC's Mary Bruce is at the White House with the story. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, George. After ringing in the new year at his annual Florida bash, the president-elect is back home in New York, where he's expected to receive a briefing from intelligence officials on the Russian hacking. Trump is still skeptical. And this morning, that cliffhanger, Trump now promising there's more to come. A new year and new pushback from Donald Trump.
I know a lot about hacking, and hacking is a very hard thing to prove, so it could be somebody else.
The president-elect still doubting U.S. intelligence and questioning if Russia interfered in the U.S. election.
I want them to be sure. I think it's unfair if they don't know.
17 U.S. intelligence agencies concluded Russia was behind the hacking, but Trump suggests there's more to the story.
I also know things that other people don't know, and so they cannot be sure of the situation.
Like what do you know that other people don't know?
You'll find out on Tuesday or Wednesday.
But on this week, the top Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee told our Jonathan Karl the evidence is ironclad.
It's very solid. It's indeed overwhelming. If he's going to have any credibility as president, he needs to stop talking this way.
President Obama has already counterpunched, closing 2 lavish Russian diplomatic retreats in the U.S. and evicting dozens of Russian diplomats and their families. Almost 100 people in all. Overnight, their plane touching down in Moscow. Trump has said it's time to move on.
I think we ought to get on with our lives.
But now his team is questioning the White House's motivation and asking if the punishment fits the crime.
There is a question about whether there's a political retribution here, whether it's versus a diplomatic response.
Even some Republicans say it wasn't tough enough.
We will be working for much tougher sanctions against Russia. They attacked the United States of America.
But Trump says there's only one way for sure to protect from cyber attacks.
Write it out and have it delivered by courier, the old-fashioned way. Because I'll tell you what, no computer is safe.
And now there are new concerns that the Russians may have also been targeting the American electrical system. A code linked to the Russians was found on a laptop associated with a Vermont utility, but there are no signs that the hackers penetrated the power grid itself. George?
Okay, Mary, thanks. Let's get more now on the intelligence and the politics from our analysts Steve Ganyard and Matthew Dowd. And Steve, let me begin with you. You spent a lot of time dealing with national security and intelligence when you were in the government. First, let's talk about this new threat to the electric grid again, that no signs here that it actually penetrated the grid in Vermont, but this is a serious threat.
It is a serious threat for all of the infrastructure around the U.S. and around the world, George, for things like power supply and things like that. But what we saw in Vermont, there were definitely Russian fingerprints on that. But one of the interesting things about malware is it's becoming commoditized. You can actually buy it in the dark recesses of the Internet. And so it could have been Russia, but it also could have been China, it could have been North Korea, it could have been Iran. But I think that what's going to happen here is that the intelligence community is not going to release the sources and methods that allowed them to draw conclusions that it was definitely Russian.
Right. They're not going to release the sources and methods. We could get the new report, the full report on Russian involvement as early as this week. You see that Donald Trump is questioning the intelligence. Based on your experience, how solid is it?
Again, it's hard to say. What the White House released about last week was not conclusive. It didn't show intent. It was very thin on details. So there's a push-pull going on within the intelligence community right now about how much to release. And until we get more definitive detail, we're not going to be able to make that determination.
And Matthew Dowd, you heard from Donald Trump there over the weekend saying he knows things that others don't. He's continued to question this intelligence and praise Vladimir Putin for withholding any response to the U.S. Sanctions and actions that President Obama took last week. He's playing a tricky game here because he's going to face pressure from Republicans to respond to Putin as well.
Well, yeah, Donald Trump sounds a little bit like that Saturday Night Live character John Lovitz played Tommy Flanagan, where he says something and then he said, yeah, that's the ticket. He just makes up stuff and then he doesn't, and then later on doesn't prove it. I think the fascinating thing about this is for years Republicans have said Barack Obama did not respond strong enough to Russia. Now, as of yesterday, the Republican response, or at least Donald Trump's response, I should say, and his spokesman first, is that he responded too overwhelmingly, which is an amazing situation after Russia, it looks like, committed an act of cyber war and undermined one of the most fundamental principles of our country, which is our democratic elections.
So the question will be, does he change his tune after getting the intelligence briefing later this week?
Well, I think that's a really good question. And the other thing Donald Trump, I think, has to realize is I think somebody needs to tell him, as he said, don't use computers, use courier. I don't know if he wants to go back to the Pony Express. But with this, George, what this is a computer that Donald Trump is on every day sending messages to the American public. So somebody might want to tell Donald Trump that what he holds in his hand is also a computer. And
Sean Spicer says the tweets are going to continue. Matt Dowd, Steve Ganyard, thanks very much.
All right, George, we're going to move on now to a deadly mid-air accident. Two planes colliding over Texas on New Year's Eve, killing at least 3 people. An investigation is now underway. ABC's Ryan Smith is here with details. Good morning, Ryan.
Good morning, Robin. Overnight, the NTSB investigating this harrowing crash. So violent, people forced to take cover as debris fell from the sky.
A terrifying mid-air crash. Cell phone video capturing flames and a dark plume of smoke as one plane crashed into a storage unit and a boat.
I just don't know that there's any chance they could make it.
The other into this busy shopping center parking lot.
Yeah, it looked like they were doing acrobatic maneuvers. One of the wings had been clipped off.
2 of the 3 victims identified this morning. Gregory Barber, a retired Air Force lieutenant colonel, and his 18-year-old son, Tim. Moments after Barber took off and entered his first turn, a plane struck his tail.
They were just banking around, making a turn, and one of the planes just slid into the other one.
The scene so tough to watch, you can hear someone in this video telling a little girl to close her eyes. Charles Drexler saw the crash, capturing this video moments later.
They hit so hard. You could tell that they were going really fast, and it was a big explosion.
The FAA confirming both pilots were operating under visual flight rules, meaning visibility must be several miles so pilots can see potential issues and avoid them.
And you heard a loud crashing bang, and the 2 planes basically, one of them came pretty much straight down. The other one had a little control, but he was coming down. There was no stopping it.
The Barbers respected in their community. 18-year-old son Tim Barber just recently entering Air Force Academy. Additional NTSB investigators are expected on the ground today.
Oh, it just breaks your heart when you hear a story like that. All right, Ryan, thank you very much. Amy has the morning's other top stories, starting with new details in another air tragedy.
That's right, Robin. There are now new clues in the search for a private jet that vanished with a family on board. Police are investigating a bag that might be from the plane that disappeared over Lake Erie near Cleveland. And there have been multiple reports of debris from plane washing ashore. 6 people were on that plane, including the pilot, his wife, and their 2 teenage sons. Well, breaking overnight, another deadly suicide blast in Iraq this morning. A bomber in a pickup truck packed with explosives targeted a market in Baghdad, killing at least 18 people. This follows 2 other attacks in the city that left nearly 40 dead. And suicide bombers may be to blame for 2 big explosions that rocked the Somalian capital this morning, going off near Mogadishu airport. One blast damaged a hotel frequented by foreigners, and the other hit a security checkpoint, killing at least 3 people. Well, Chicago has unveiled a new crime-fighting strategy after a record rise in violence. The city ended 2016 with nearly 800 homicides. That is the most in 20 years and more than New York and Los Angeles combined. LA police are looking for the man who changed the iconic Hollywood sign early New Year's morning to read, as you see there, Hollyweed. It was seen in surveillance video. The sign was quickly fixed, but not before everyone got pictures for Instagram. That's where I saw it this weekend. And finally, 3 families are celebrating a very special New Year's. They each have newborn twins, but here's the catch. They were each born in separate years. In San Diego, 2 girls were born 4 minutes apart on either side of midnight. In Salt Lake City, baby James came into the world on December 31st at 11:59. His baby brother Matthew 2 minutes later at 12:01. And then in Glendale, after 6 hours of labor, baby Shay arrived at 11:51. His brother baby Everett followed the next year at 1 past midnight. So the twins will share just about everything except for the year they were born in.
Yeah. That's a bonus. They get separate birthdays.
Very cool. I agree. That is cool.
Good way to start the year. Now we're going to get into that New Year's Eve performance, getting so much buzz for what went wrong. There you see her, Mariah Carey. We're learning more about what happened when she took the stage here in Times Square. TJ Holmes here with all the details. Hey, TJ.
George, good morning to you. This is one of those things you just couldn't turn away from, and it was for all of the wrong reasons. How is it that one of the most successful singers in history appeared to be unable or unwilling to sing? Well, Mariah Carey blames an equipment problem. The production team says, yeah, that was a problem. It was Mariah Carey. Mariah's New Year's Eve disaster began just seconds into her 1991 hit, Emotions.
I'll just get through the motions, okay? All right. We didn't have a check for this song, so we'll just say it went to #1, and that's what it is. Okay.
While her vocals played in the background, the pop princess strolled up and down the stage, not singing while the music continued, and as 11 million people watched at home.
We didn't have a sound check for this New Year's, baby. That's okay, you guys. All right, just relax to the left. I want a holiday too. Can I not have one? I'm trying to be a good sport here.
Her next tune, We Belong Together, seemed to get off to a better start. But then, as the vocals played, she put the mic down. Finally, after 6 minutes, Mariah walked off.
Bring the fellas on, yes! And you just don't get any better.
But the fallout was just beginning. Mariah Carey's people accused Dick Clark Productions, which produces ABC's New Year's Rockin' Eve with Ryan Seacrest, of sabotaging her performance. Her representative says her earpiece wasn't working and that the pop star was set up to fail. Dick Clark Productions responded, as the premier producer of live television events for nearly 50 years, we pride ourselves on our reputation and long-standing relationships with artists. To suggest we would ever intentionally compromise the success of any artist is defamatory, outrageous, and frankly absurd. Mariah seemed to be taking it all in stride. She posted this of herself shrugging on Twitter with the caption, "Blank happens. Have a happy and healthy new year, everybody. Here's to making more headlines in 2017.
Okay, we might never know whose fault it was for the technical issue, but to the audience, it doesn't understand. I was listening to you guys, and the audience can hear it, but without this, I'm blind. I wouldn't have been able to hear you. And this is what happens with a singer out there. She has these earpieces. If she can't hear her music, she doesn't know what pitch to be in. She doesn't know where she was blind if these didn't work.
Even though the music is blasting or blaring, she can't
hear it. She can hear the crowd.
There's crowd noise, and there's feedback with those huge speakers. She doesn't know where she is in the song.
Kudos to her dancers, man.
Those guys.
They kept going.
I'm telling you, they kept going.
And she did make a lot of headlines.
No such thing as bad publicity, right?
Oh, yeah, she has a show, y'all know, coming.
It's not a reality show. Don't call it a reality show. She checked Ryan Seacrest.
Man, you checked me real fast. Happy 2017, Robin. Just like last year.
Some things never change.
Let's go back to Ginger.
Oh, goodness. Okay. A real quick look at the winter weather advisory just outside New York City. Careful if you're driving anywhere in the pink or purple. Let's get to those select cities, though, brought to you by Macy's.
It's Macy's After Christmas Furniture Sale. Get the lowest prices of the season on furniture. Like this Radley 5-piece chaise sectional, now just $1,599. Get the Avondale Queen Bed, now only $489. Save on the Caleb Leather Sofa, only $799. Or the Bordeaux 7-piece dining set, just $989. Get special financing on a furniture purchase of $499 or more on your Macy's card. Plus, shop Macy's.com or call 1-800-BUY-MACY.
And a very good morning, meteorologist Brian Vandergraff. As you get going this morning, a little damp out there, but if you head off to the west, it is a little bit drier. To the east, it'll have some more showers off and on. Even in the metro area, a few showers through the midday, but mid and upper 40s, actually mild. Tomorrow, another round of rain after a little bit of a lull. We'll see some rain showers tomorrow morning. Some could be heavy at times through the morning, and then by tomorrow evening, it does start to clear on out. Wednesday, the mildest day of the week, and then much cooler. By late Thursday into Friday, maybe a little wintry mix into a much colder weekend.
Up here on GMA, a new twist in that murder case involving Kennedy cousin Michael Skakel and the death of his neighbor more than 40 years ago. Will he now be sent back to prison? Thanks, joins us live.
Yeah, and the right to disconnect, the new law rolling out overseas about unplugging from work after you leave the office. Are we about here in the U.S. to see a big change happening overseas? Is it going to happen here? Big board.
As soon as I left the hospital after a DVT blood clot, I sure had a lot to think about. What about the people I care about, including this little girl? And what if this happened again? I was given warfarin in the hospital, but wondered, was this the best treatment for me? So I asked my doctor, and he recommended Eliquis. Eliquis treats DVT and PE blood clots and reduces the risk of them happening again. Yes, Eliquis treats DVT and PE blood clots. Eliquis also had significantly less major bleeding than the standard treatment. Both made me turn around my thinking.
Don't stop Eliquis unless your doctor tells you to. Eliquis can cause serious and, in rare cases, fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve or abnormal bleeding. If you had a spinal injection while on Eliquis, call your doctor right away if you have tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. While taking Eliquis, you may bruise more easily, and it may take longer than usual for bleeding to stop. Seek immediate medical care for sudden signs of bleeding, like unusual bruising. Eliquis may increase your bleeding risk if you take certain medicines. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures.
Eliquis treats DVT and PE blood clots, plus had less major bleeding. Both made Eliquis the right treatment for me. Ask your doctor if switching to Eliquis is right for you.
My trainer didn't believe me that Trop 50 could taste so good and still have 50% fewer calories.
Can I stop, Jane?
No.
Trop 50 tastes so good you won't believe it has 50% fewer calories.
People magazine raves on Monster Calls is visually dazzling.
Whoa.
Whoa, indeed. It's an unforgettable masterpiece that will make your spirits soar. Come on. A Monster Calls, rated PG-13.
You're watching your go-to movie, which has that one scene you forgot about. So you use your go-to parental blocking device, which also happens to be your go-to snack. Baked with real ingredients, no artificial flavors or colors. Say hello to Good Thins, your go-to good.
Look at you, saving money on your Medicare Part D prescriptions. At Walgreens, we make it easy for you to seize the day by helping you get more out of life and Medicare Part D. Now with $0 copays on select plans and rewards points on all prescriptions, Walgreens has you covered. So drop by and seize the savings. Walgreens, at the corner of happy and healthy.
It's all-you-can-eat pancake time at IHOP. So put on your stretchy pants and find out how many delicious, world-famous buttermilk pancakes you can eat. But you better hurry, because all-you-can-eat pancakes ends February 12th. IHOP. Eat up every moment.
From ABC 7 News, this is a Good Morning Washington update.
Good morning, Washington. I'm Melanie Hastings. Here's a check of your top stories. A pedestrian is dead after being hit and killed in Forestville. The accident happened around 10:30 last night on Pennsylvania Avenue, right where it crosses the Beltway. Maryland State Police say the man had a possible medical emergency, passed out in the middle of the road, and was run over. The victim has been identified as Donald Easter of Chesterfield, Virginia. Police are still trying to get a description of the vehicle. And grief counselors will be at Howard High School in Ellicott City today as students mourn the loss of a classmate. 16-year-old Charlotte Zaremba was fatally shot inside her bedroom early yesterday morning. Police say a 15-year-old boy got into the house and shot Charlotte and her mother, then shot himself. Charlotte died at the hospital. Her mother suffered non-life-threatening injuries. The suspect remains in critical condition.
Everything Nature's Promise is so wholesome.
It doesn't take the whole paycheck.
Giant's exclusive Nature's Promise. Eat well for less. My Giant. Now save this week with 25% off Nature's Promise poultry, seafood, or artisan breads.
You have always held him close to you. But now, addiction is stealing him away. To hold on, you must finally let go. The innovative addiction treatment programs at Caron will treat your loved one and heal your family. Let us take it from here.
It's go time at Dunkin' with 2 wake-up wraps for $3. Enjoy 2 freshly made oven-toasted wraps with bacon, sausage, or ham, and keep on all day. America runs on Dunkin'.
Like most women, you have a morning routine to help you be your best all day. But if you suffer from heavy periods due to uterine fibroids, being your best is usually preparing for the worst. Doctors are now conducting a research study evaluating an investigational medication that may reduce bleeding due to uterine fibroids. Qualified participants will receive study-related care and investigational medication at no cost. To see if you qualify, visit myfibroidstudy.com or call 1-844-35-STUDY.
It's countdown time at Priority. Our biggest year-end sale ever. Incredible deals like the 2017 Camry or RAV4, $199 a month. Or a new 2016 Highlander, $239 a month. Get your countdown deal now at Priority Toyota Springfield.
Great price on this boneless chicken. Yeah, we love low prices. No bones about it.
Thousands of blue tags, thousands of low prices. My Giant. Now save this week on Lean Cuisine frozen entrees, 5 for $10.
And here's a look at what's happening out there today. Some sporadic showers off and on. If you're out to the west, not as much so as to the east, but even then it's fairly light in nature. Tonight, drizzly, damp, and some patchy fog could settle in. Tomorrow morning, another round of rain, especially tomorrow late morning, could be heavy at times. Then all of that starts to move on out, and we'll start to see some improving conditions. By Tuesday and Wednesday, we're talking 50s, but then a big cold blast heads here later in the week. And Friday into Saturday, a little rain, maybe a little bit of light snow could mix in. Definitely a cold weekend headed our way.
Well, Brian, that's wet weather coming through the area, certainly causing for some slick pavement on the roads. But the good news is that most folks are still at home today. We're looking good on the ride in for most places, but we do have one issue for you. 66 if you're headed there just before 495. You'll find the action off to the left side of the roadway. Travel lanes open just with the shoulder blocked. We'll be back with more Good Morning America right after this.
Go, Billy! Ever wonder why after we say goodbye, you still feel like we're around? Good boy, Bailey. It's because we are. This was me, and then this was me, and then I came back as this little guy. I've lived a lot of lives, loved a lot of humans. Where did you find that? Go! And no matter what, I'm right there with you.
Rated PG.
Some of us walk in place. Some of us walk to take us places. And some of us walk to become warriors. Powering more research, more screenings, more access to care, more survivors. Blisters are temporary. Fierce is forever. Avon 39, the walk to end breast cancer. Warriors wanted. Register today at avon39.org.
Not every person that we represent has a happy story. Many folks are injured and they're disabled, and some are very severely injured, may be disabled for life. From time to time, speaking to them, seeing them, essentially living